Yes, service. May I have number 426, please? Thank you. Yes, hello, love. 'Tis I, George. I wanted to ask you something. I know a perfectly little tea parlour just near Hyde Park, and I wanted to ask you if you were free today and wanted to perhaps drop by and have some afternoon tea. Really? Oh, lovely. What say you around 2? Great. Well, I'll meet you in Hyde Park and then we'll walk to the little parlour together. All right? Yes. See you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. No, I hope they will be coming. I don't reckon it'll be long. Yes, thank you. So, let's see what they got, eh? Yes, waiter. Yes, I would like the afternoon tea for 2, please, and the custard cakes and some chocolate chip cookies, if you please. Yes, thank you. Ah, there you are, love. Well, I must say you look absolutely stunning today. Yes, this is the little parlour I was talking about. I hope you will enjoy it. I think they are extravagant. So I have just ordered afternoon tea for 2 with custard cakes and chocolate chip cookies. Yes. So, what have you been doing today? No, take a seat, of course. Oh, a light? Of course. Hold on a moment. There. Yes. Well, so, I'm quite curious. What have you been up to of late? Oh, really? My. Oh. What? Oh, look. Oh, they're fast. Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Have you got a few pence? Maybe we can give him a slight tip. No? Alright. So, I've ordered, like I said, 2 afternoon teas. And will you just look at these nice chocolate chip cookies? I think they look rather splendid, don't you think? Take a quick glance. And those real custard cakes, my. Well, no, it's all on me, don't mind. No, the bill's all on me. So, I'm glad you made it. Let me just pour you your tea. There, will you take a look at this nice porcelain they've got here? There. You take milk and sugar. Good. And will you just look at these nice things? One or two? Very well. There. So, oh look. They've brought out the Saint spoons. Last time when I was here, they had the dog and cat collection. Can you see? Yes. So, this one's for you. I'll set that right there by you. And it seems as though today they thought that the flower bouquet tea set was the nicest, and the little dishes for our little sweets are also in the same pattern as our cups. Isn't that lovely? So, I'll take the same tea with some sugar. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, I know what you're thinking. 3 sugar in a tea is quite too much, but well, you know me. So, when did we last spoke? Was it at the Royal Hillcrest? Yes. Now, quite a lot of things have been happening since then. One of the most important things, in my opinion, is my brother Ronnie. Well, quite a little rascal, I must say. No, he's at the, or he was, I must say, he is at the Naval College at Osborne, you know, where they train all these naval cadets. Oh, by the way. This is good, isn't it? So, as I was saying, of late, Ronnie, my little brother, has been attending Osborne, the Naval College, and a few days ago we received a letter from the court-martial, and he explained that poor old Ronnie had been accused of stealing a postal order of 5 shillings. I don't know what they're bragging on about. We could have it at school. We used to pinch everything we could jolly well get our hands on, all of us. I remember there was one chap, Carlston was his name, used to pinch everything. Stole a squash racket of mine once, I remember. Well, anyway, as I told him, pinching's nothing at all. But they wanted to make a problem out of it, and he has been expelled. Before I go on, would you like a chocolate chip biscuit or a custard cake? Very good. Take one. Yes. I've never had custard cakes from this parlour before, but I've heard from friends that they're quite good. They are. So, as I was saying, Ronnie returned home on a Sunday, for goodness sakes. So we all came back from church, and my sister Kate had just announced that she was going to be wed to a certain John Weatherston. So, anyway, John's over at our place, well, my parents' home, I live in London, but they live in Wimbledon anyway. So John's over at our house. Everything's fine. We're about to make the toast as a blessing to their wedding, when all of a sudden Violet, my mother and father's maid, walks in. She walks in with the glasses on a silver tray, and my father notices that there is one glass extra. So he says, "Oh, Violet, you must join in and drink a toast." Violet says, "Well, I didn't bring it for myself, sir. I brought it for Master Ronnie." So, darling Papa says, "But he's not back from Osborne until Tuesday." Well, and Violet said, "Oh no, sir, he's back already. Came back all by himself this morning." So, father thought he was ill. Well, is the boy very ill? Oh no, no, no. You know how it goes. And he brought a letter for father that explained why he was sent home early, and that he had been expelled and accused of stealing a 5-shillings postal order. So my darling Mama reads the letter to Papa. You should have seen the expression on his face. Absolutely foul. Yes, the tea's lovely, isn't it? So, anyway, Ronnie, who had been out in the garden, hiding in the rain, was sent upstairs to put on his pyjamas, and father asked him to be sent back downstairs into the drawing room. I had no idea what it was that they were saying, for the entire family had already been gathering around the dinner table for lunch. But it was something of, father said something like, "Did you steal this postal order?" Ronnie said, "No, I didn't." And now father wants to press on an inquiry against the Admiralty that Ronnie did not steal this postal order. Well, so that has been my little drama. And how have you been? Yes, I hear they're quite good. By the way, would you like anything else? So you've got the menu here. Yes, you can take a look. Should you be interested in some things for lunch? Let me see, where's lunch? Yes, there. See? Right there. It says lunch. Take a quick glance, and if you like anything, just order away. No, but I've had some conversations of late with Kate. Generally phone calls. And, by the way, you did notice the new telephone they brought to the market. It was this dial phone. Yes, I purchased it. I must say, it is splendid. So basically, you have this box, and not just the stand and the horn for the telephone, but this is like a box, and the telephone itself lies on top. You have this round sphere, sort of, and you just dial the number. So instead of calling service and saying, "I want number 25, which was the person that you wanted to reach out to, you instead dial their number, and it automatically transfers you to telephone of the person you're trying to reach out to. Extraordinary. So Kate bought one, I bought one, and now we can swap some little gossipy around the fire. It's really a lovely service, the telephone, you know. So, anyway, I said to Kate, well, why does our little brother always have to screw up everything for the entire family? I mean, this is also my name we're talking about. Yes, precisely. Yes, well, Kate doesn't have to worry about anything. She's marrying an officer in the Royal Navy. And she's changing her name to Weatherstone, of course. She doesn't have to worry about anything but her name. Right. Would you like another cup of tea, love? Or you're still drinking? No. Beg my pardon. There. If I've ever been here at dinner time, no, this is a tea room only. Yes, I believe they close around 4:45. Around that time. No, but it is a lovely little parlour, I must say. Oh, quite funny story actually. Last time I was here with Kate, my sister, guess who we ran into? Lady Mary, the daughter of the Countess of Grantham. Have you been reading all those, well, quite funny stories in the papers? You haven't? Oh, well, let me explain. So I was sitting over there at that table, and Lady Mary was somewhere over there, and I said to Kate, well, you won't believe who just walked in. There she was. But as I was saying, a lot of things have been going around in the papers of late, that she was involved in some kind of murder or death in the house of Grantham. Yes, Downton. Yes, it's in Yorkshire. No, I believe it was a Turkish ambassador or prince or something, and he was visiting, and well, at midnight they found him in Lady Mary's bedroom, dead. No, but of late I don't actually know what to believe. No, really, I don't. There are so many papers and there's so many people just bragging on about stuff that doesn't even exist. But I quite like it though, I must say. Yes, precisely. Oh, and I've also been doing some research on the latest fashion from Paris. Apparently there's this new thing called a flapper dress or something. It's quite new and it's not that bad, I must say. But slowly winter is coming along, and it's already autumn. The leaves are already starting to fall. Oh, you know I love winter. The autumn, but definitely winter. So I had to light a fire actually yesterday evening. When you know, living in London, it can always be or quite warm or quite cold. Well, in this case it was quite cold, and being in a lane that is not really covered by any housing, one tends to get cold, so I light a fire in a little fireplace. Quite cosy. No, but Winifred, my wife, was suggesting to make this beautifully illustrated autumn piece. She's rather creative, you know. And Thomas, the little lad, we've been taking quite a lot of walks of late with little Thomas, through the park, especially with the leaves falling down. Yes, I must do some shopping. What say we go and shop sometime soon? Well, I need new clothes for winter. I definitely need an overcoat. And I could do with a new hat. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I've got your address. Have you got a telephone number? Allow me to just write that down. When I called you for this little meeting of ours, I called via the service. Yes. Right. Telephone number. Right, go ahead. Right, thank you. So, I will give you a call, and we could go shopping someplace nice. Perhaps forth with a mason or something. I've got another rather funny story, actually. Lately, I was in Forthwith and Masons with a beautiful new shop. They opened a new shop in South London, heavily carpentered with beautiful wallpaper and chandeliers hanging everywhere. And the missus needed a new bra. 7 guineas. I said, over my dead body, I'm not spending 7 guineas for a bra. But the prices have been rising of late. It's quite worrying me, I must say. Even, you know, I have like this ocean liner company and such. Well, we wanted to build a new liner after the RMS Westminster was a grand success. So we decided we wanted to build a new ocean liner. Well, we'll have to wait with that, because the prices for metal and oars and oil and fuel have been rising and rising and rising. It's ridiculous. Now do tell me, have you had any experience of late with the inflation? Yes. Well, I blame Germany. You know, I blame them. Because they started the Great War, and now that they have been defeated, thanks to America, and now that they have been defeated, they have the most inflation in the entire world. Well, I don't know what they're bragging on about. I mean, if you go and invade some countries, you can be defeated, and if you're defeated, well, you get inflation. But the thing is, with modern economics, if one goes down, they drag the entire party with them. These custard cakes are great. You can have some more if you want. Oh. No, perfectly fine. Oh, don't look. I said I sat at that table, right, when I saw Lady Mary. The man who's sitting there now is a regular patron in the Royal Hillcrest, the club of which I'm a member. I'll leave you to guess the amount of mistresses he has of late. I don't know what people are complaining about. I mean, between you and me, there are so many people I know that that's sort of what happened with Kate. Kate is also doubting everything a bit. Well, anyway, I was discussing with her that maybe we could go to the club with the four of us. I mean, the missus, myself, Robin and you. Or quite possibly Robin could bring Ralph. Lovely. Well, I've got your telephone number and I'll send you some, and I'll give you a call. Maybe we can pass out some dates and decide where we want to go. Yes, that's one of the things. Well, you know where to find me on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. The Royal Hillcrest. In my opinion, London's most fine club. No, I don't go the Mondays and Tuesdays, no. No, because Monday and Tuesday are jazz nights. Have you ever heard those new music, jazz? It's called. Well, that's where I saw the flapper dress I was talking about. No, but it's this really upbeat kind of music. I know that, I must say. And they've got that this new dance. I don't know what it's called. Something of the Lindy Hop. I think it was the Lindy Hop. Well, anyway, it's all very fast and it's not very mindful, I must say. Now, on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, the Royal Hillcrest offer a great number of waltzes and soft classical music to dance and waltz the night away with the love of your life or whoever you're there with. Something that Arthur over there takes advantage of. But I think that's the fun of clubbing, don't you? Just sitting, gossiping, drinking a few glasses of wine or champagne and... Well, anyway. Goodness, is that the time? I must be off in about an hour. But let's say we walk to Hyde Park. Yes, we could see all the little leaves and winter coming along. Yes, I brought my umbrella just in case because I'm currently equipped with a bow tie hat. And yes, it is rather hot today, don't you think? So just in case it might rain, we can still keep our heads cool and our bodies dry. Yes, well, no, I'll pay the bills. Don't worry. As long as you pay our next bill. No, just joking. About the inflation. Oh, who cares about inflation? No. Yes, finish your tea, take your time. And we walk through Hyde Park and we'll see each other, well, in our next visit, right? Shall we go? Yes, I would like to have the glass of champagne, please. Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes. No more real news of late. Oh, it is you. Goodness. What a coincidence that we are to meet here in the Royal Hillcrest. Tell me, how have you been? Well, at first you look stunning as ever. Oh, really? Well, last we spoke was in the little corner shop, right? The parlour. Yes. Well, a lot of things have happened since, and I must say I am very pleased to meet you here, though it is quite a late hour. That doesn't matter, at least not for me. Do beg my pardon. I was going to give you a call sometime. However, I didn't find the time. Oh, by the way, would you like a glass of champagne as well? Or perhaps something else? Very well. I've got the menu here. You can take a quick glance and I'll order something for you. Now, I think, or that is just a quick guess of mine, that your first interest would be the Winslow case. Yes. My dear brother, Ronnie. Oh, really? Excellent guess. Well, waiter. Yes, a little glass of red sherry wine, please. Thank you. No, but there has been a rather significant development of late in the Winslow case latest. Oh, by the way, cheers. Now, the first thing that I wanted to include in this little gossip session of ours is my sister Kate and her wedding. I thought we might address that first. You see, a few days prior, I received this. Look. Don't you think she looks lovely? And of course, John Weatherston with her. Well, anyway, they looked like a rather merry little gathering, I say. But this wasn't the only thing I got. For today, I got this. A letter from Kit. And oh my dear, what a precious little humbug it is. Let me read a few things for you. Well, my dear George, I'm well and happy. I hope you're too, the usual things. But then she says, oh, of course, this needs a little bit of explanation, I think. So, a few days ago, my little brother, Ronnie, has been investigated by Sir Robert Morton. Of course, you've heard of him. He's one of the greatest barristers in the country. But he had been invited by my father to come down to our little house and to investigate Ronnie and ask him a few questions about, of course, the stealing of 5 shillings, which, of course, is a rather trifling offence. I mean, I don't know what they're bragging on about for 5 shillings. I mean, just the fact, Ronnie had a total of, I believe, £2 and 17 shillings in the college bank at the time. Why would anyone steal 5 shillings if one's got £2 in a college bank account? Well, not me. Either way, Father wanted Sir Robert Morton because Sir Robert Morton had recently been proven one of the best barristers in the country after the verdict came true from the Len Rogers case. Yes, that one. Well, it was quite a shock to the entire country, right? Everyone thought he was innocent, and as it happened, however, he was guilty. My sister Kate actually has a little novel about him. I believe it's called Len Rogers' Memoirs. It's quite interesting to read what he has to say about everything. Anyway, so since Father heard about Sir Robert being so successful, he had no other choice but to choose him. So, of course, Curry, our family solicitor, has made some inquiries. And, by the way, did you know that Curry, our family solicitor, had a little fancy for my sister Kate? The man is nearly 50 years old. Yes, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolute balderdash. Yes, but I was so shocked about the entire affair when I heard from Kate that he fancies her. Yes. No, but, anyway, where was I? Oh yes, so our family solicitor, Curry, Desmond Curry is his name. I think they're a rather liable firm, but that's just my opinion. But he set up a meeting between Sir Robert, Arthur, my father, and Ronnie. So, of course, the entire family was gathered around. Even I came down to Wimbledon to hear what Robert had to say. So, Ronnie sits down and Sir Robert begins his cross-examination. My God, it was a scandal. Sir Robert was all bragging on about, no, and I think you're guilty, and I think you're this, and Ronnie was screaming, or was crying, I didn't do it.
No, perhaps you're still in the locker room, rifling Elliot's locker.
Sir Robert, I must ask you.
Quiet.
I remember now. Yes, I remember someone did see me outside the CEO's office. A chap called Casey. I remember I spoke to him.
What did you say?
I said come down to the post office with me. I'm going to cash a postal order.
Cash a postal order?
I mean get.
You said cash. Why did you say cash if you meant get?
I don't know.
I suggest cash was the truth.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really. You're muddling me.
You seem easily muddled. How many other lies have you told?
None, really, I haven't.
I suggest your whole testimony is a lie.
No, it's the truth.
I suggest there is barely one single word of truth in anything you've said, either to me or to the judge advocate or to the captain. I suggest that you broke into Elliot's locker, that you stole the postal order for 5 shillings belonging to Elliot, and that you cashed it by forging Elliot's name.
No, it isn't true.
Furthermore, I suggest that by continuing to deny your guilt, you're causing great hardship to your own family and considerable annoyance to high and important persons in this country.
That's a disgraceful thing
I
to say.
suggest that the time has at last come for you to undo some of the misery you've caused by confessing to us all now that you are a forger, a liar, and a thief.
I'm not. I didn't do it. I didn't.
This is outrageous.
I didn't do it.
So, Kate and I, of course, we got up. We were like, this is a disgraceful thing to say, because Sir Robert suggested that Ronnie was a liar, a forger, and a thief. Well, but then came the real twist of events. So, as Sir Robert was proclaiming his fury on little Ronnie, God rest his heart, Ronnie walks up to dear Mama and hugs him tightly. I didn't do it, Mother, I did it. Oh, now as I think of it, it was rather a difficult situation, definitely for Ronnie. I mean, can you imagine that somebody tells you that you have stolen 5 shillings and you didn't do it, and everyone thinks you're guilty? It's rather ridiculous, I know. So Robert rises from his seat because he had a meeting at Devonshire House. Yes, of course, the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire. Well, let him be all high class with his fancy pants, and we'll be just sitting here in the club. Either way, I like it just fine. No, but anyway, so Robert had a meeting with the Duchess of Devonshire's, and so he was a little late, and honestly, I think he is a fish, a cold-hearted, clear fish. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So Robert got up and said to Carrie, well, will you send all this stuff round to my chambers tomorrow? There's a change of events. Yes, so apparently Robert was only doing this ridiculous little thing to upset Ronnie and perhaps even see if he was guilty or innocent or not. Yes. So, as Robert got out, he said, the boy is plainly innocent. I accept the brief. Good night. Oh yes. Cheers to you. Oh, by the way, would you like a light? Allow me. There we are. Right. No, but so Robert accepted the case. Now I can go on with my letter. You better buckle up for this one. So, George, of course you remember the evening when Sir Robert came down to our little house in Wimbledon, and as you know, I was rather shocked to hear that he accepted the brief. Of course, we all were. Would you be? Yes, precisely. But a letter addressed to father, which I read, said that the father of John Weatherston, Colonel Weatherston, John Weatherston is her fiancé, that the father of John Weatherston, Colonel Weatherston, is trying to do everything he can to stop John from marrying me. Of course, when father heard this, he said the entire thing must be dropped at once. So, the decision is no longer father's, but mine, he said. So if we are to believe this letter, then that wishes to say that Kate is now the only one that is able to make a decision on whether Sir Robert Morton will go up with the case or not. All the trouble. Why did Ronnie have to go on pinching poster orders? What for, I say? What for? It has absolutely nothing to do with the perception of school. I mean, he could just do something else. Eh? So, it was rather a shocking affair to hear that Kate and John might quite probably not get married. But between you and me, right, I think we know each other well enough now to keep these secrets. I don't think that John is so suitable for Kate. I mean, Kate is a suffragette, for goodness sakes. John's father, Colonel Weatherston, perhaps one of the most conservative men in entire England. And he accepts his son to marry a suffragette, which would... Oh, never mind, she's not the militant type. I forgot. No, honestly, I don't know what this suffragette business is. You have two types of suffragette. You have those people that chain themselves to your of whatever reeling. And did you hear that they what did they do? They climbed on the Prime Minister's carriage. Well, it's a shame I missed that. It was wide in the papers. No, not the ordinary papers. No, the good papers. No, the one I was reading just now before you entered. The good papers. You would be able to read this, wouldn't you? That's what I thought. Well, I'll leave it there for you, and then we two will carry on, and when we're finished, and when you go home, you would be able to take a little glance at what is real news. Now, where was I? Oh yes, so because Sir Robert has accepted the brief of Ronnie Winslow, that means that the case can now come to court. But if the case would come to court, Kate would not be able to marry. Now, of course, John's of age, he's his own master, and, well, he gets a relatively fair pay through the army. But his army pay is mostly supplemented by his father, an allowance of his father. And without an allowance of his father, and Kate being a suffragette, meaning she would get some paid work, but calculated together, I don't think they would be able to run a family. No. But John's a veteran, though. Yes, he served in the Great War. Wow. Certainly is what's the word? I don't know. How have you been of late? So I continue bragging on about Ronnie and Kate all the time. How have you been? Oh. Oh, jolly. Yes. Well, I was thinking maybe I could get you an invitation for the wedding of Kate and John. Not that I think that it would eventually even turn out into a wedding, but the picture is nice. At least we've got a picture of the two of them together with an everlasting memory. I beg your pardon? Oh, about Robin. Well, like I said last time, I said that the engagement between her and Jack was broken. Well, that still remains, but she has been seeing Rolf a lot of late, and she even, as a woman, yes, of course, Robin being a woman, getting paid work. Guess where? Rolf's workspace. So the two of them work together now, and I've heard some quite funny stories about the two romanticizing during work hours. I don't know, nothing of that sort. No. But I see you're thinking. No, they are just friends now. But I grant you, if Robin should go on like this, and Rolf should go on flirting with her too, then the two could soon be engaged. But still, it was quite a scandal that Rolf suddenly stood up in church at her wedding day. But anyway, he's far better off with Wolf in my opinion. I don't even like Jack. No, you were there the night that he romanticized with all those misses. I don't know how many mistresses the man has had ever since, but I grant you the number is not to be counted on one hand. So, and any more news? Yes, it's quite nice, hey, autumn? Though it is getting a lot colder. By the way, last time we spoke, I told you we went shopping. Yes, we should really plan that sometime. Now, hold on. Let me get a sheet of paper. There. And, oh, by the way, have you got a pen? Right. We'll have to find one there. Anyway. What dates would suit you? Well, we could do it somewhere in November. Yes, and then we could also perhaps do some Christmas shoppings. But of course, can you imagine it's nearly 1923? Time flies by, I say. By the way, what do you think of the music tonight? I reckon it won't be long henceforth since the world will really cool itself down and soon we'll have snow. Yes, well, the company too. Yes, as you know, I have a shipping company. The times have been hard of late. Well, inflation is really the thing that's going on now. I mean, with previous ships. I'm building this grand ship, and by the way, that's a great place for gossiping. I could get you a free ticket. Of course, Master Sweet, you're speaking with the director himself, for goodness sakes. Now, an ocean liner would be a pretty appropriate place for gossip. As I was saying, times have been rather hard of late, but I'm hoping to get this ship christened before the start of November. Probably won't happen, but it's one of our greatest ocean liners to this date. And if we could have it sail before, let's say, March. Yes, March or April. That's the time when most people would like to go on voyages. Especially to America. Voyages in the Atlantic have of late been extremely profitable. But of course, there have been some incidents, and some people remain scared. And oh, by the way, if you want another glass, just ring and. But I wouldn't want you to be tipsy. Oh yes, we were speaking about the ambience. Now, as you know, of late, the classical music that once adored these halls has been exchanged with this new type of thing called jazz. But who am I? Or is it just me, or am I the only one that adores these waltzes? I mean, most of the time when I'm here with the missus and they play like Strauss and all those beautiful waltzes and dances and things, the evening flies by in minutes, really. But with these jazz things, I don't know. A lot of people are dancing over there. Can you see? Anyway, as long as I wouldn't have to learn the foxtrot, I'm happy. Yes. By the way, something I didn't even know. Charles Lindbergh, of course, the amazing pilot that flew across the Atlantic Ocean. I didn't know the Lindy Hop was named after him. I performed the Lindy Hop once. Wasn't a success, I say. No. Well, I should bring the missus sometimes. Although, I must say, we have changed as a society. I mean, before the Great War, a lot of things were different, you know. You had manor houses and lords and ladies and butlers, valets. Valets are very difficult to come by these days. Our butler, Jeeves, wanted a day off. And actually, Jeeves has been rather busy of late with keeping the entire household at ease. So we wanted to look for a second butler, a valet. They're quite hard to come by, especially in London. One should think that in a great city like London, great city of Shakespeare, the royal family and such, one would find a valet very easily, but they are just as hard as finding anywhere else in the United Kingdom. And this trouble with Ireland, the Irish question, oh dear. Well, I don't know, as long as we're happy, eh? Oh, and have you seen that latest, what was it called? I don't really know. It's a picture camera. It's this box, and one puts in a film, and you've got a picture taken. No, but that's what I mean. It's a society. When Winifred and I got married, of course, that was after the war, but still. before the war, marriage was this great, enormous thing with giant parties and gifts, and weddings nowadays are very different. Anyway. Oh, really? Oh, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting. Well, you do whatever you need to do, and I'll pay the bill, don't mind me. Perhaps I'll try the foxtrot someday. Or perhaps even tonight, who knows. Or maybe I'll give a quick call. Do you mind? Okay. Great. Now, I always take this corner because it has a telephone line. And the newest one, a dial phone. No, but the funny thing about sitting in this corner with a telephone by you is that whenever something happens, one could just easily give a call. If only one would answer. No, I'm giving a call to Robin. Maybe she wants to drop by with Rolf, and we can have some more fun. And next time we speak, we could discuss the details. Yes, hello, Robin. Yes, it's me. I'm at the club. Yes. No, I was just sitting with, yes. Bad news?
How can people be so cruel?
Has he been expelled?
How little imagination some people have. Now, why do they have to torture a child of that age? What's the point of it?
What's he supposed to have done?
Stolen some money.
Oh,
10 days ago it said in the letter. Why on earth didn't the letters know?
well, it does seem a bit heartless, I admit.
Heartless. It's cold, calculated inhumanity. Think what that poor little creature's been through these past 10 days down there. Entirely alone, no one to look after him. Knowing what he had to face at the end of it. It's any wonder he isn't nearly out of his mind. I'd like to have that commanding officer here for 2 minutes.
Oh, darling, it's quite natural you should feel angry about it. But you must remember he's not really at school. He's in the Navy.
What difference does that make?
Well, they have ways of doing things in the service which may seem to an outsider horribly brutal. But at least we're always scrupulously fair. You can take it from me, there must have been a very full inquiry before they take a step of this sort. What's more, if there's been a 10 days delay, it could only have been in order to give the boy a better chance to clear himself. Oh, I'm sorry, Catherine. I think I did better to keep my mouth shut.
No, what you said was perfectly true.
But what are we going to do now? Oh, thank you. Oh, look, we even got our own little corner. Here, allow me. Now. Oh, yes. Thank you kindly. So, there we are. The Royal Hillcrest once more. Oh yes, what would you like to drink? Because I know it is rather late, but I fancy tea over a quite strong drink. Oh, thank you. Well, 2 evening teas, please, and would you like any biscuits? Yes, we'll take whatever biscuits you've got. All right. So, well, there we are once more, as I said, in the Royal Hillcrest, London's most luxurious club. Forgive me, So, right. So, and what have you been up to today? Oh, really? Quite busy, I think. Well, you know, with me, just a regular day at work as usual. You know, the ordinary things. Just some general financial matters that don't matter to me at all, actually. However, the missus and I are thinking on buying a new motor car. I mean, there are these new models that look quite fancy. But I normally take a taxi or I get a chauffeur, but we don't have a personal chauffeur, but I think that that would be nice. Yes. So, I think that you want to hear the things going on about the Winslow case, about Ronnie. Yes. Well, quite a lot of things have happened since we last spoke, I must say, and also with Robin. But we'll have some time to chat tonight, just the two of us, and the club is rather empty, so the band is playing for almost nothing. Let's see. No, it's quite empty, which is fine normally for this sort of day in the week. By the way, forgive me for being quite inappropriately dressed. I didn't have that much time. Alright, well, normally on these nights one comes in white tie. Well, anyway, a tuxedo is a tuxedo. And there comes our evening tea. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, let me pour you a drink first. A nice cup of steaming hot tea. I think you take milk and sugar? British. 2. And a little cloud of milk. Oop. There. Right. So, will you just look at those lovely little biscuits? Don't they look fancy? The baker or cook that made these has certainly proven to Royal Hillcrest standards. Do take one. It's on my account. So, as you know, last time we spoke I told you that the Winslow case about Ronnie stealing 5 shilling postal order was accepted by Sir Robert Morton. Well, this means that Sir Robert Morton, being a member of the House of Lords, that the case could come to government terms. However, my father's Member of Parliament, Mr. Hamilton, did tell us that there could be some things that could initially prevent the case from coming to court. However, my father, who has worked for Lloyd's Bank for nearly 40 years, I'd say, knows what he wants, and if he wants something, he'll get it. And for that, he needs good study of Magna Carta. Well, I remember one line he told me about. Now, let's see, you know, this Magna Carta business and citizens' rights is not my thing anyway. A servant of the king cannot be condemned without a trial. Now, Ronnie, we all presume, is a servant of the king. Well, of course he is. He's a naval cadet. Even though he's still at school, he's still a cadet, which means a servant of the king. So, a servant of the king cannot be condemned without a trial. So, the Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty and the House of Commons and Lords and the entire government that is behind all this, and the Lord Chief Justice and lawyers and jury of the court have simply no other choice but allowing the Winslow case to come to court. And there is one thing I figured you might find interesting. I brought a copy of the letter that was sent to Father a few days prior from when Ronnie returned home. Now, let me see. Osborne, Naval College, Osborne, Osborne, September the 7th, 1921. Arthur Winslow, Wimbledon. Confidential. Dear Sir, I am commanded by my Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty to inform you that they have received a communication from the commanding officers of the Royal Navy College at Osborne, reporting the theft of a 5-shilling postal order on the 7th instant, which was afterwards cashed at the post office. Investigation of the circumstances leaves us no other conclusion possible than that the postal order was taken by your son, Cadet Ronald Arthur Winslow. My lords deeply regret that they must therefore request you to withdraw your son from the college. Yours sincerely, Captain Flower. Thus said my mother the day Father found out. You should have seen the look on the man's face. And the timing, once again, was perfect as ever. That was the day that Father accepted John's and Kate's marriage, and they were about to raise a toast to their good health. I was there, Dickie was there, Kate was there, John was there. Oh wait, I just remembered something I had to tell you. So everyone was gathered in the drawing room, and all of a sudden Violet comes in. Actually, did I tell you this story? Oh, never mind. Violet comes in with the glasses and with the toasts, and she pours everyone, what was it, sherry, I think. She pours everyone a little glass of sherry, and Father notices that there is an extra glass, so he says, "Oh, Violet, you shouldn't have brought this extra glass." Well, Violet says, "I didn't bring it for myself, sir, I brought it for Master Ronnie." So Father's all like, "Oh, I thought he didn't come back in Osborne till Tuesday," because that was the time, it was that September when the boys were about to return home from the holidays. And that was a Sunday. So we all come back from church, and of course nobody would come back from a naval college at that moment. So the day after, or Thursday, he would return from Osborne. So Violet says, "No, sir, he didn't. He came back unexpected this morning." all by himself. So of course Father's like, oh, that's not true. Well, as it happens, however, he was. So Father asks all of us, did you know about this? Well, I said, yes, Father. Dickie said, yes, Father. Kate said, yes, Father. And my darling Mama took out the original letter and read it to Papa.
Dear Sir, I am commanded by my Lords Commissioners of the Admiralty to inform you that they've received a communication from the commanding officer of the Royal Naval College at Osborne, reporting the theft of a 5-shilling postal order. Investigation of the circumstances of the case leaves no other conclusion possible than that the postal order was taken by your son, Cadet Ronald Arthur Winslow. My lords deeply regret that they must request you to withdraw your son from the college. It's signed by someone. I can't quite read the name.
Yes. So, you should have seen the man's face. Oh, my dear. You know, of course, when we were younger, Dickie and I sometimes did have some little mischief of our own. But the man turned white, his gaze fixed upon all of us. You know, he's not that bad of a father, of course, but still, we all thought he was going to explode. As Dickie said a few minutes before this event, he said, oh, but someone's going to tell him eventually. I mean, I shouldn't want to. In fact, he didn't want to be within 1,000 miles of that explosion, he said. Well, anyway, suddenly silence filled the room, and Father said, Violet, will you ask Master Ronnie to come downstairs, please? So Ronnie came downstairs. Of course, we were all gathered around the table for luncheon. So we didn't hear precisely what he told Ronnie, but Ronnie told me afterwards that Father said, Ronnie, did you steal this postal order? Ronald said no. Of course, he is innocent, at least between you and me. I better hope that boy is innocent. I mean, think of all the drama that he's bringing the name Winslow through, and our family and my company and all that. Anyway, he better be innocent, otherwise I'll have to deal with Dickie and I. So, Father said, Ronnie, are you innocent? Did you steal this postal order? No, Father, I didn't. No, Father, I didn't, he said once more. And from that moment on, Papa was sure that Ronnie was innocent. And that is why he continues to fight for Ronnie that often. I mean, between you and me, the man has worked for nearly 40 years at Lloyd's Bank. Of course, Mama, 4 children, quite a large house, a chambermaid and a cook. Well, there wasn't that much money left for saving, and he plans to go on with the case. And he even asked Dickie about Dickie. Dickie's still at Oxford. He's an undergraduate, and Father pays about £200 a year for an entire school year for poor Dickie. Dickie failed his examinations 2 times already. It's nearly That's nearly 19 years old, can you imagine? Anyway, the option was either to go on with the case, spend almost all the money that he had, or don't go on with the case and leave the family from any harm. But he was sure that he wanted to prove Ronnie's innocence. So he said to Dickie, what would you say any of your bookmaker's friends would be willing to gamble at odds against you getting a degree this year? Well, in other words, Dickie got sacked from Oxford. I mean, the poor chap. You know, sometimes I feel rather sorry for him. It's always been Kate, George and Ronnie, the pride of the family, me having my own shipping company, building ocean liners that sail all across the Atlantic. Kate, suffragette, getting married, me being already married, Ronnie being cadet in a naval academy, perhaps someday to become an officer or an even higher rank, and Dickie still at Oxford. Anyway, Father loathes his music. He is into this kind of jazzy, bluesy kind of music. And he still lives at home. And he has a gramophone, which he very occasionally uses. And you know, walls, even if they are carpentered and heavily painted with wallpaper, are still rather noisy. So sometimes when Father's in bed, or when Kate and I are sitting downstairs when I'm back home, you can hear the music echoing through the entire house. Goodness. Well, so last time I told you that Kate has received a letter, or actually Father has received a letter from John Weatherston's, her fiancé, John Weatherston's father, explaining that if the name Winslow should be any more discreted, in other words, if Father is willing to go on with the case, then that the old Weatherston, the friggin' number, I say, sorry, forgive me. You didn't hear that. Here. Anyway, said that he would use every influence he's got over his son to stop him from marrying Kate. So Sir Robert Morton comes over. Kate still loathes the man. I must say I have grown quite respectable of the figure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with his attitude. As long as people pay him, he is willing to do everything. However, I still think if you happen to be a large monopoly or someone with big cash and big troubles, that Sir Robert is the best. But for a little case like this, I think he's well overdoing himself. Anyway, Sir Robert comes over and we explain to him the fact that the old Weatherston wants to stop the case from coming to court. So Sir Robert asks Kate, well, does your decision still stand, Miss Winslow? What are my instructions? And Kate says,
You don't need my instructions, Sir Robert. Aren't they already on the petition? Doesn't it say, let right be done?
Kate. Very well.
So, John, in all vain, says, Kate, simply walks out of the door. between you and me, I never thought John a suitable husband for Kate. You know that. I mean, John is someone to put on the Ritz, you know. Someone who would rather marry a general's daughter or something, not some old suffragette from Wimbledon. So, that means that Sir Robert Morton was now able to make for instructions. So that means that Sir Robert Morton was now able to propose the case to come to court in the House of Commons. Well, you know me, I'm practically ringing Kate every single day over the telephone. I mean, it's so easy nowadays with those dial phones. So, Kate keeps me updated on all the little affairs that has been going on in the great London area. And Robert has suggested the Winterlow case to come to court, but the Lord Commissioner of the Admiralty, the First Lord, thought that the Admiralty could not come back on a decision it has already made. It's ridiculous. I say it's humbug, absolute balderdash. I mean, why would they? Why would they? I mean, I think they're afraid of something. I'm afraid that this will lead to a nationwide laughingstock. Well, Sir Robert is not a musician of cheap tricks, and nor does he account on solicitors' shops. He knows what he's doing. Now, as I said, I'm beginning to trust the fellow. And to be quite fair, though sometimes his ideas could be quite conservative, I think it could be a quite suitable husband for Kate. But you didn't hear that, of course. At least, not from me. Oh, look. Oh, look. Look over there. Isn't that Rose McClure? You know that, was she a cousin from the Duke of Grantham of the House of Downton in Yorkshire? Have you heard the news? Have you read the papers about her? It says she had all little kinds of affairs around London with all sorts of different men. She was even spotted in a club one day. Well, not this kind of club, not a fancy restaurant or something, a jazz club. You know, where they sing around, swinging their hips. You know, she's a cousin of mine. 5 times removed, but still. She's a distant relative of the missus. However, I hardly ever tell anyone that. Why? Well, because she's the guinea pig. I mean, think of the reputation for the House of Grantham. She tears it all down like a brick wall. By the way, have you heard about the inflation in Germany? Yes, it's quite harsh, I've heard. I've heard that they're paying, what was it, a few 100,000 marks for a single piece of bread. Little more, I'd say. There, perfect. And there comes Adeline. Adeline Thompson. The stories I have about that woman. Ridiculous scarlet. You know, she has been able to save her neck from the papers. However, the gossip in the club about her is absolutely, precisely, absolutely yummy. You know, she would almost come to the standards of Jack, Robin's ex-fiancé and almost husband. Now, you see her there, over that table, hanging over the shoulder of that man? No, that isn't her actual hair colour, she's actually blonde. No, I knew her before she dyed her hair red. She says it's the Hollywood look. However, I never go to the Hollywood movies, I prefer British films. However, I have heard that they were experimenting with talkies or something. I mean, a talking picture, can you imagine? I mean, just imagine you're going to the theatre and you're watching a film that makes sound instead of text pictures. What this world is coming through, I say. However, Miss Thompson, Adeline, is wearing a rather nice dress. You know, I've sat with her sometimes, but no, she's not for accounting. I haven't spoken to her in perhaps a year. Lose the woman. About Robin. I see in your eyes the same look as before. You want to know what's going on, eh? Well, I'll tell you. But you must promise not to say a word, because there could be a chance that she would be here tonight. Although I don't see her, there could be a chance that she could walk in on us. I bet you £5 she has Ralph with him. So, as I said, Robin got paid work. The same place where Rolf is working. And, well, you know me, I have been making rather a lot of phone calls of late, especially with her, because I want to keep up with everything that's going on with Robin. You know, her sister was actually a secretary of mine, well, for some time. Oh, look, there she goes. Over to the dance floor. I can't stand Adeline. No, dance away. So, a few days ago, I was here in the club with the missus, and Daniel, a friend of mine of work, my secretary, brilliant man. I mean, you could ask the man anything and he would respond in seconds. You could ask him, did you have that financial report ready for tomorrow? Done. Within a half an hour, it's done. Brilliant man, the best man I ever hired. I was here, so 3 of us and some other folk from the club. I'll introduce you to them someday. But, we were sitting here and Robin and Rolf came in. Booked a table for 2. nothing wrong with that. Especially we have a table for two right now. Anyway, the way they were looking at each other, it was delicious. And sometimes I even caught her whispering something, perhaps to herself or to someone else. But she didn't see me, nor Daniel, nor Winifred. And oh, what did I bet you another £5, which makes £10, that they are soon to be engaged. I know for sure. Absolutely. You know, sometimes when I look upon the club, I feel ashamed of what it's become. No. Well, let me just redeposit this letter. If Adeline ever had a man, well, she has had some. Perhaps even more than I myself can account for. Now, why won't you... there we are. You know what? Why don't we, just for the sake of fun, pretend that we are pissed, go over there, go and talk to her, find us someone to dance, because it is nearly 8 o'clock. Find us someone to dance, or we'll waltz away until the night is late. I mean, I could always call the business tomorrow and say that I'm a few hours late. I think that's a very good idea. Now, let us dance. Allow me. Oh yes, thank you. Oh, excuse me, sir. Do you have a paper? Thank you. Splendid, thank you. Oh, drama. Oh. Caballero. Quality. Especially for you, books. Oh, Wedgwood has made a new tea set. Wonderful. Nothing more. Oh. What a wonderful chance that I meet you here. I was just about to call you after I'd finished my little time of peace here. What would you like to drink in afternoon tea? Splendid. Yes, we'd like to afternoon tea, please. And you remember the custard cakes from last time? And once again, the custard cakes, please. Thank you. So, I have the most marvelous little drama. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's all over London. No? Well, it's about Jack and Robin. The two have had some developments. Allow me. No, this isn't a letter from Robin. You see, this needs some explanation. I was having tea time at Robin's, and on her desk, which is in the drawing room, which is convenient, I found a letter. Now, it was addressed on October the 27th, which is several days ago. However, I asked, "Oh, Robin, are you going to send this letter? Because otherwise because I could take it with me downtown, back home, and drop by near the post office." Well, no, she wasn't going to send it. So what did I do? Please do forgive me. I took the letter. Of course, I didn't send it. I merely opened it and read it. Was shocked by the results, and then I copied it on my typewriter. So, of course, I stopped by Robin's house and carefully inserted the letter back in its original place without her even knowing. But I do have a copy. And before I read this, I must ask of you the most sincere promise that you will not tell a living soul, because if the papers or whoever would find this, then oh my dear, we're a long way from justice. Anyway, I thought I could share it with you, couldn't I? Well, it goes like this. Dearest Rolf, it seems only fitting that I write by candlelight, for there is no place for daylight in a letter like this. How strange it is to love someone as fiercely as I love you, only to find myself tangled in webs spun by others. Last night in the Royal Hillcrest, I heard the most dreadful whispers, murmurs about you and that mysterious woman in that emerald gown. I didn't want to believe it. I know how the upper-class people of London talk, and I thought myself immune to their idle chatter. But Rolf, this woman named Lillian, slipped from the lips of your own mother. She even said she'd never seen a more perfect pair. You must understand, I have held you as my only light since that first night in the... Thank you. Yes. Tea? No, of course we must not let anyone hear. By the way, there's also been some slight development in the Winslow case. There you go. Milk and sugar. 2, eh? I remembered. And a little milk. There. Ooh. Bit too much. But anyway. There you go. Where was I? Oh, take custard cake if you want to. You know, by the way, in terms of economics, I don't know if you care about economics. However, we have been making the most tremendous profit in the company. Well, I say thanks to the inflation. Because there's a lot of people going to America. Yes, it's something about the stock market. A lot of people think it's really good. However, I didn't look into it really. But there have been a lot of people that have been booking tickets. Cake? Yes. Well. Where was I? You must understand. I have held you as my only light since that first night in the club. Yet here I sit, trembling as I scroll your name, wondering if my heart is somehow naive, or if I shall... hold on. Or if there is truth in all this dark gossip. It's quite good, isn't it? You must be honest with me, Rolf. The city has ears, and it thrives on mystery. But my heart cannot bear the silence. I need to know what it is you hold in your heart. And yet, even as I write this, I hear myself. Here I am, begging for answers. Every glance from you has already spoken of your devotion. I wonder if it is I who am guilty here, letting my insecurities overtake the truth. I hope with all my heart, Rolf, that you understand. And Rolf, please forgive me if I sound as though I doubt you. It is only that I fear the world will always keep you just out of my reach. Here comes the fun part. Forever yours truly, Robin. So... There has been talk in the club about Rolf and a woman named Lillian. Now, of course, you must understand that gossip is, well, gossip is as gossip does, I sometimes say. However, gossip is not always true. Now, I know Lillian actually. I met her once. She's a general's daughter. Quite suitable. But her mother, I cannot stand the woman. She's a regular patron. She She's always over-exaggerating about her husband's victory. I don't even know if you're able to call it victory. Anyway, it's always, oh, my husband is the perfect husband and my daughter Lillian and oh. But here comes the fun part. Robin thinks what the club thinks, because the club to Robin is truth. So, if the club would say that Robin has an affair with Lillian, Robin would think so as well, because, well, it'd be funny to know there are plenty of people who think so. Same thing happened with Jack, Robin's previous lover. However, thankfully the flame has been extinguished. As long as a lot of people... another cake. As long as enough people say one thing, the rest will be clockwork. And the same thing is with the Winslow case. As I told you last time, the Winslow case can now come to Parliament, the House of Commons. Now, once more, these parliamentary businesses don't... well, I don't care about them at all. However, there have been some interesting developments. Have you read that great article in the Times of Sir Robert Morton? Well, it was titled Sir Robert Morton Wins Great Legal Battle, about the Len Rogers case, filled almost an entire page. Well, anyway, so Sir Robert is all about right and his motive, known to each and every bachelor in the country: let right be done. Now, of course, him and the First Lord of the Admiralty, who in this case is in the offence of the Winslow case and not on Sir Robert's part, is that he says that Parliament cannot come back on a decision it has already made. But they forget one thing. As I told you, Magna Carta, a servant of the king, cannot be condemned without a trial. So Robert Morton gave this, quite frankly, rather long speech in the House of Commons a few days ago, saying that let right be done, and whether it was 5 shillings or £2, that it wasn't about how Ronnie stole the postal order, how much he stole. It's about the fact that Ronnie was served unjustified.
And I believe, with all my heart, that this House will accept my view that there is only one course left open to the government, namely this: let them not rest till the Attorney General has endorsed Mr. Winslow's petition with the time-honored phrase, the phrase that has always stirred an Englishman, and I hope always will stir, wherever he may be, in his castle, in his backyard, or in the humblest little public house at the corner of the humblest little street. Let right be done.
Well, so there came a vote, and Parliament voted for the Winslow case to come to court. So, here comes the fun part. Sir Robert Morton was offered a very distinctive role in court. He was offered the role of job of Lord Chief Justice. Now, I heard from Kate he denied, and for one thing and one thing only, the Winslow case. And I find it quite funny. She heard that from Desmond Cuddy, our family solicitor, moments before he asked her to marry him. So now Kate is all wondering, who should I choose? I mean, John just left the woman, and now Desmond has asked her to marry him. Desmond used to be a cricket player for Middlesex. However, forgive me, that young, willing, sportive figure has long departed from his body. And I told Kate you would be so dumb if you were to accept him. But the Winslow case has come to court, and a few, witnesses have come down to London to speak. For instance, the woman at the post office. Oh, by the way, would you care for a smoke? How ill-witted of me, sorry. Yeah, but, see, where was I? Oh yes, Desmond marrying Kate. Well, anyway. Kate is nearly in her 30s, right? She's the oldest of the children. But does that mean that she has to go on marrying some old brook like Desmond? No. However, I fear she has little to no choice. But I was speaking to Sir Robert the other day, one of the only private conversations I've ever had with him, and he said, "Oh, George, I stayed near the Winslow case because I felt that the rewards that would come from it would be of an interest to me." The rewards of the Winslow case would be of an interest to Sir Robert. Why would the rewards be of an interest to Sir Robert? Oh, look. Look who entered. Isn't that the Countess of Grantham? With Rose McClare? And is that... That's Daniel. Daniel, my secretary. Oh, he better doesn't see me. Continue. Sir Robert stayed in the case for their own natural... You know, Daniel is, well, a good friend of mine. And he does good work. However, he hasn't yet married. Oh, what a proud it would be that I had a secretary who was married to a distant cousin of the Countess of Grantham. But didn't channel𝜗𝜚 have anything to do with Bertie Pelham? I know him personally, do you? No, he was interested in buying shares in my company. Yes. Well, anyway, it's so fun to have a private little conversation with someone. Hmm? Well, it's already November. I say, I wanted to host a Christmas dinner party at my house, of course with the missus there, perhaps with Daniel, with Robin, and we'll have to see if it was with Rolf, but can you imagine? Long table filled with all these standard couverts, as it's called in French, and glorious garlands scattered around, presents under the tree, perhaps some distant music far better than the music from this cafe. Now, tell me what you've done today. Oh, well, I have been going down to London. I didn't go to the office today. I called and said, oh, don't count on me today. Now, I went to Oliver Brown clothing store and had a new suit fitted. And I purchased something. Hold on. It's somewhere here. Now, what do you think of this? Okay? A picture camera. You can remove the lid and you can just... No, it doesn't have a film, don't worry. You can just snap. It's fairly easy to handle. If I can open the thing. Do you know anything about photography? Well, I've heard that they are working on colour film now. Would be interested to see a colour film someday. Now, you simply place the film here. You roll it over and it gets collected here. Right? Are you following me? Then you insert the case back. Simply place this down, close the lid, and you can take pictures. You can even see here, this is a little viewfinder, so you can see what you're looking at. And if you want to take landscape pictures, you can see here perfectly through this little glass. Now to take pictures, simply flick this and then turn until you can look right through here. I'm not bothering you with this, am I? No, you can simply look through here to see when a new picture can be taken. You twirl this and you take another picture. So, now it was only £2.50. I know it's rather expensive, but it is fun to take pictures. Especially of some of the ships. The christening of the RMS Westminster is nearly there, and it would be fun to have some pictures taken. But of course the newspapers will tend to that, but still. another tea, another fill. There. Oh, and about the talksies. No, you're right, talkies. Mrs. and I went to this film called The Dueling Cavalier. It was a tryout, so to speak, because talkies had never been done before, at least not by that film studio. But like I said, I prefer British films over American made. But I thought, why don't we give talkies a try? Now, of course, you know Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont as the faces of Hollywood. I think the missus fancy Don Lockwood. But as long as he doesn't fly over and stays in America, I'm safe. No. Anyway, the film was nice. However, there were some difficulties. So there was this scene where Mrs. Lamont came downstairs. She had this long necklace of pearls. She continued to fiddle with them. I don't know where they hit the microphone. It seems they were hidden somewhere in her breast or on her shoulder. Because when she went like this, and then like that, you could hear her, and then you couldn't, and then you could, and then you couldn't. And the dialogue of Don Lockwood. He kept on, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It was almost like a romance from Jack and Robin. Well, anyway, so the film was not that bad. At least we thought so. So, as the picture went on, eventually something happened and the sound was, as they say, out of tune. I read an article about it in the Sunday Times. So, they were speaking, but you didn't hear any sound, and the sound came a few seconds later. And there was this other scene with Lena Lamont and an actor that I don't know, where Lena went, no, 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 and he went, yes, yes, yes. And it was so out of synchronization that when Lena said no, 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 you heard the man's voice say yes, yes, yes. It's absolutely ridiculous. How the mighty have fallen. I'll never go to a Don Lockwood picture again. However, I did hear they were working on a Shakespeare talksy. Kate and I went to Shakespeare a few months ago. Richard III. What a brilliant play. There have been a lot of people coming up with new plays, but I think Shakespeare's just the best. Who played in it? Oh, don't ask me. I don't know that. Well, I think it was Cedric Hardwicke. Well, all these Hollywood actors don't... Oh. Oh. There comes Kate. Who's that? Oh, and Sir Robert Morton. Well, let's see. Why don't we go sit with Kate and Sir Robert Morton? I could introduce you to Kate and Sir Robert, and we'll chat on the Winslow case. Eh? Splendid. Splendid. Yes, it is I. I have the most tremendous good news, and I wanted to share it with you at once. Let's say, are you able to go down to the club, like, right now? And we can have a few glasses of champagne, because I'm sure that you'll like this. Jolly. Well, I'll see you in about half an hour. Yes, goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, splendid. You're already here. Hold on. Oh, yes, thank you, sir. Have you already got a number for your coat? Yes, give it to me. Thank you. Just a moment. That is my scarf, my gloves, and my hat. And here is my coat. Thank you. So, as you've heard over my telephone, oh, yes, I'll take the same, yes. Yes, I'll have the same. As you've heard over the telephone, I have some splendid news, and I'm glad that you took the time to hear it from me. So, yes, thank you. So what is this wine you've ordered? Oh, Spanish. Well, very well. You've ordered the entire bottle. Was that because I'm coming, or? Well, anyway. So, I say cheers to you, and cheers to the Winslow case results. Yes, you've heard that right. The Winslow case results are through. However, I think the results need a little explanation. Well, so a few days ago, the hearing took place of Ronnie, of Captain Flower, his captain at Osborne, of a lady at the post office, a number of different people. And, well, so first, I'll begin straight away if you don't mind. So first, Ronnie himself was cross-examined. Well, the examination itself went rather well, I'd say. I was there the first time. The day after I wasn't, but not much happened the day after. So Ronnie did rather well, you know. First you have to swear on the Bible. I swear that I and I alone will confess the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Something like that. So Ronnie did so, and he was asked several questions by Sir Robert Morton and Desmond Curry and the Lord Commissioners of the Admiralty at the other side. At the right side was the Winslow family, Sir Robert Morton, Papa, Kate, Desmond Curry, Mama. Dickie wasn't there. Dickie was working. I took a day off. And on the other side were the people that were against Ronnie. a cheeky little man, the First Lord of the Admiralty. I must say, I really had my hands itching. And Kate had to stop me from saying anything. What a ridiculous little fellow. Probably someone with the biggest trouser size in the entire United Kingdom, but you didn't hear that from me. He started asking Ronnie mathematical questions. The first one being, what is 15 from 45? Well, it took him long enough, perhaps too long, for him to realize that 15 from 45 is 30 and not 10. But he spent some time saying 15 from 45, 15 from 45, 15 from 45. And the First Lord of the Admiralty kept dragging on, yes, 15 from 45. And so Sir Robert interrupted the two and said that it was a ridiculous question, and thankfully he did so, because it was indeed a ridiculous question. So it became this whole debate, not between Ronnie and someone else, but between Sir Robert Morton and the First Lord of the Admiralty. Now, then came Sir Robert's speech. He said that he had not been in the best of health lately, and that he should ask permission from the Lord Chief Justice to resign him from the council should it, at a later stage, fail him. Now Kate was mad about this. Kate thought, oh, there comes fishy Sir Robert Morton. But I think Kate fancies Sir Robert. Somehow. It's just a feeling, I think. And, oh, by the way, I have heard some news about Robin. But we'll come to that in a second. So, at the end of Ronnie's examination, Robert asked the game-changing question. So he said to Ronnie, well, Ronnie, when you finished your smoke, where did you put the cigarette end? In your pocket? And Ronnie said, no, sir, on top of the lockers. So, that means that all this time, Ronnie wasn't been able to tell us what he had been doing in the locker rooms for nearly 5 minutes, because some people thought of that a problem. But turns out that he didn't want to tell anyone because he was secretly smoking. And since, in Sir Robert's eyes, he thought it would have been avoided at all costs, but now the jury know that Ronnie was not pinching postal orders, he was smoking. However, Ronnie being, of course, an ex-student at Osborne, the jury should also think that he would have been likely to break 2 or more rules by breaking one of the strictest college rules by smoking. But, as it turns out, it was the opposite. Because the day after, Sir Ridgely Pierce came. Now, of course, I have all this information from Kate, but it went something like this. So Sir Ridgely Pierce came, the handwriting expert, and he had Ronnie's letter, and the letter and the signature on the postal order. And he told Captain Flower that there was no doubt that the signature that Ronnie wrote and the signature on the envelope were by one and the same hand, thus making Ronnie guilty of the charge. However, when Sir Robert began his investigation, he said, "What system do you use?" And he said, "The Ridgely Pierce system." Sir Robert said, "Oh, not the Schwarzenegger system. I think naturally you use it, of course." It turns out he did not, and he hadn't even heard of it. So the jury thought that he didn't even know what he was talking about. But here's the fun part. The what was it called? The Ridgely-Pierce system was also used in the Len Rogers case. You know, the case I told you about that Sir Robert had been working on to prove Len Rogers guilty. Well, Sir Ridgely-Pierce said that he was innocent because he thought that by his system, the Ridgely-Pierce system, there was no doubt that once again the signature on the envelope of Len Rogers and the signature Len Rogers wrote himself were by one of the same hand. When Sir Robert asked him why he was wrong anyway, Sir Ridgely-Pierce said because the jury were idiots. And silence filled the room. Sir Robert said, "Oh, and this jury, do you think they are idiots as well?" So that proved Miss Ridgely-Pierce being quite false, actually. And so the jury began doubting their accusation of Ronnie being guilty. The next day, a lady from the post office came, and she said that there was no difference at all between the boy that bought the postal order and the boy that cashed it. So, once more, the jury was mixed up with thoughts. However, in the end, we were sitting at home, and I remember the father is in a wheelchair now. You know, his arthritis has been troubling him rather a lot lately. But so father was talking to Kate, and Desmond has asked Kate to marry her. I told you that last time. And Kate was wondering whether or not to accept. You know, she told us, oh, she'd settle down now with Desmond, have a quiet little life with enough money to live, because Desmond being a solicitor. Or perhaps she would wait and continue with her paid work at the post office. Oh no, telegram office it was. And lately reporters have been sighted around father's house quite a lot. You know, a few days ago, I went to visit mother. Dropped by with my car and the chauffeur. And there were practically a bunch of 5 reporters outside. No, 3 Americans and 2 British. So as I came up, they stopped me and they said, "Hey, are you this Winslow boy?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm the brother." Oh, and one of those Americans said, "Oh, well, our American readers want to know what's going on. I want to know your opinion." I said, "Well, he's just an ordinary little kid, you know, he doesn't wash and all that." And so that American fellow said, "Doesn't wash?" I said, "Well, I don't mean literally, he does sometimes." And then I said, "Well, sorry, I have very pressing matters to do, and I bid you good day." So I walked back in. When I went out, I used the back door, thankfully. However, they were quite startled when my chauffeur came in the front and I came running from the back. Anyway, another story. So, Father, Kate and I are enjoying our tea when once more a news reporter outside screams, "Winslow case latest." Or at least, that is what we thought that was said. So Father asks, "What is that man shouting?" And I say, "Well, only Winslow case latest." And Father says, "No, I don't think so." And then he cries again, "Winslow case results," because the verdict had come through that day. So we were like, "Winslow case results." And the moment Father was about to get up to hear the result from him, Violet came in, our maid. Well, I've never seen someone with such energy. Violet. By the way, I'll have some more gossip to tell you about my own maid back in London. Ethel, she's called. Anyway, Violet comes in, all energetic. "Oh, sir, what a shame you missed it," and this and that, and Ronnie has henceforth been proven innocent. And Sir Robert Morton weeping, tears running down his face. They were running down his face. So, of course, Cook had a hat knocked off, and some of the jury members climbed out of the box to shake hands with Sir Robert. Oh, it was a massive success. But now the fun part. I said Ronnie, ordinary little kid, doesn't wash, doesn't etc. He wasn't even there. He was at the pictures. So I wasn't there, Father wasn't there, Kate wasn't there, Dickie wasn't there, Ronnie wasn't there, only Sir Robert, Cook and Violet. So where was Ronnie, you might ask? Well, at the pictures. Let me interrupt that real quick, because I don't want to forget that. Remind me to ask me about my latest business inquiries. So, Ronnie came home. Ronnie said, "What's this I've heard on the street? Did we won?" Well, it turns out we won. And oh, what a glorious time. And thus, I raised my glass once more to not only Father, but also Sir Robert Morton. So now, I think you know that if one wants to achieve something, it only needs utter patience and the concentration and the will to go on with it until you're proven right. Thus said Sir Robert, and thus had Father inferred. So half an hour later came Sir Robert, and he had the original text, or at least some words of it jotted down on a piece of paper, of the Lord Chief Justice, and it went something like, "I, the Lord Chief Justice, after hearing all the words of the jury and the witnesses, etc., etc., confirm that the postal order taken on," what was it? I think somewhere in September. Anyway, the postal order taken such and such and such by Mr. Ronald Arthur Winslow, and I can confirm that there is no doubt that he did not cash it and did not steal it, thus making him free of all charge. And a knock with the hammer. So, of course, me being me, ringed home to the missus, and we all had a nice glass of champagne. And then Father said, "Well, I want to make a speech to the reporters outside, because, well, we're practically rather famous, the name Winslow. Oh, at least Father and Ronnie are quite famous." So by the time Sir Robert had arrived, and everyone knew what was going on and what had happened, Father said, "Well, I need to make a statement to the peoples." So he got up from his wheelchair. He didn't mind his arthritis at all. He said, "Well, Ronnie, come on, we're going to show the people what this country's good can do." And they were absolutely outrageously funny. They were singing "Jolly Good Fellow," they were "Oh So Robert," and "Oh Father Winslow," and "Ronnie," and "Justice for Ronnie," and "Thank the Lord," and such and such. Cook and Violet were watching from the window, and I stood in the door frame, and Dickie was nowhere to be seen. Nobody knows where Dickie was off to. So we've had a rather busy day. And Kate told me that she had a dinner appointment with Sir Robert in a few weeks. I'd be very interested to know what that is to become. So, about Robin and Rolf, and about Rolf and Lillian. So, I got a phone call from Kate, because of course, as you can imagine, I tell Kate practically everything. we're typical brother and sister. But Kate had heard at this club about Lillian and Rolf, and then she heard about John Weatherston, her ex-fiancé. So, turns out John was engaged to a general's daughter. Well, who do you think the general's daughter is? Lillian. And turns out they didn't even know each other that long. Well, since John is the son of a colonel, I think that marrying a general's daughter is most suitable. At least that's what Kate said too. So I ringed Robin after that, and Robin said, "Oh, it's all fine with Rolf. There's no tension between them anymore, and that Rolf has spoken to his mother about this whole Lillian business, and of course his mother still thinks that there's a chance for Rolf and Lillian to get together." Well, anyway, so Robin told me that Rolf took Robin to the club, and they had the most wonderful time, and it was really cold outside because they even have a little Christmas tree up already, and down in the entrance hall the Christmas trees and all the wonderful decoration at the club tables. Well, anyway, so it was really cold outside, and it was raining, and they had no umbrella. So Rolf gave his coat to Robin, and they were in the park, in Hyde Park. And Rolf made his lovely confession. He said, "Oh, Robin, I'm so sorry if I had doubted you, and if you doubted me about Lillian, but I want you to know I love you, and I want you to be my wife." Thus he got on his knees and proposed to Robin. And so now they're engaged. Quite a wonderful story. Wow. Yes, you're right about my business inquiries. So, you know my love for pictures, right? Not precisely photography, but filmmaking and silent films, and now with those new talkies coming out. And although The Dueling Cavalier was not a success, I have heard there is a new picture. It's an American picture, The Jazz Singer, it is called. And I think the missus and I will be going there soon, because I want to know what talking pictures are like. I mean, I've no idea. Can you imagine staring at a picture and the actors are, well, talking, and suddenly you hear what they're saying without those speak cards? Well, so as you know, I am a shipping director, and I have my own shipping company. But, well, the White Star Line and the Cunard Line have been making rather wonderful profit, especially now with the stock market rising and rising by the minute. And a lot of people are choosing to go to America. And with the christening and launching of the RMS Westminster coming up soon, I think I want to try something new. Well, you might ask, "Oh, George, what are you going to do then?" Well, I tell you. However, I want it to be a business proposition, and I want to know your thoughts about it. What say you if I were to sell my company? I could of course take some staff members with me, like Daniel, my secretary, splendid man. I introduced you to him once, remember? And some other people I could take with me. What say you if I were to perhaps begin my own film studio? Oh, it would seem wonderful to me, wonderful. I mean, there's a lot of interest in film now, especially with the talkies coming up. So, what say you? That's what I thought. Well, of course, first we'll have to wait for the RMS Westminster to be launched and finished construction, and perhaps the first voyage. And of course, I still need to make some inquiries about how filming really is. I know one needs a new building, studios, well, theatrical producers, crew, more crew, equipment, and of course when we're finally ready for filming, one also needs actors and sound supervisors and such. However, it would seem nice to me, you know. Can you imagine we could go to the theatre together and look at my own picture? Perhaps if you want to, you can get a role in one too. So, that's the idea. However, I'm not quite sure. But to be quite fair, I'm quite finished with this whole shipping company business. I mean, it's always waiting for people to go to America or to somewhere in the North Atlantic or Scandinavia or Europe. But for Europe, one needs tender boats, and tender boats are with all sorts of small companies. So people choose a cheap price over our more luxurious tenders, and because it's, well, less than a day from, well, let's say Dover, less than a day from Dover to perhaps somewhere in Belgium or France, people tend to go for cheaper prices. Oh yes, Ethel, you're right. So, of course, you know my maid Ethel, and well, she's rather nice. I mean, she does her work, but that's practically it. So every day at 7 o'clock, capital, well, most of the time, there is this newspaper delivery boy. He comes along. He thrashes the paper before my front door, and Ethel is to collect it, then quickly iron it, because you know with these papers, there are, have you got a paper? Yes, precisely, well you know that a paper must be ironed, otherwise your hands are black as dust. Well, last weekend, our entire home nearly was as black as chimney sweep dust, so we had a chimney swept. So the entire room had to be covered in blankets, and every furniture and everything's. So we couldn't use the sofa and my armchair for nearly a day, but the chimney sweepers did do a good job, and now we can have the fireplace on because it's really cold outside. I mean, can you hear the wind? And we're on a first floor, so the wind through the windows. Well, anyway, so I found Ethel once at 7 o'clock as I was coming down in my morning robes. I saw her standing at the front door talking to someone. So I said, "Oh, good morning, Ethel." She says, "Oh, good morning, sir." I said, "Who are you talking to?" Not as an insult or something, not that she's not allowed to talk, but I would like to know when my newspaper is, and when it is going to be ironed, and when I would be able to read it with my morning cup of tea. And by the way, would you like a smoke? With this cold weather, my lighter doesn't work. I mean, I prefer the old days. I mean, when I was still at Oxford, we just used matches. However, sometimes in the wind, that can be quite the trouble. There we are. So, yes, forgive me for not offering you first, but you know. Well, anyway. So Ethel said, "Oh, I'll be finished in a second, sir." Of course, I sit down in my armchair. I wonder where's my cup of tea. Ethel. Once again, I ring my little service bell. She says, "Coming, sir." Closes the door, and well, that was it. The next day, she stood at the door again. So I said to Ethel, with all due respects, if you want to have some conference with someone, you could do that in your spare time. She said, "Oh, sorry, sir." The next day, she stood lurking behind a curtain, because we have this door. We've got the number here, and then 2 windows at the side, and they have curtains. So she stood lurking behind the curtain, and I figured what was going on. So I said, "Ethel, is the newspaper late?" She said, "Yes." So I said, "When it arrives, give my thanks and my greetings to the newspaper delivery man," which she most gratefully did. But I wonder, I think she did not take it lightly, because next day the newspaper was delivered. She simply took it and went inside straight away. The day after, I thought, well, you know what? Perhaps the problem is because the newspaper's delivered precisely the moment I come down the stairs. So I thought I'd play a little trick on her. I walked down at, what was it, 6:30. It was a bit early. I told Jeeves the day before to wake me before 6:30. So at 6:30 I walked down all dressed, so I didn't have to hurry later. And I took the paper from the day before. Now this was a Monday, so the day before was the Sunday Times. So I took the Sunday Times, casually opened it, you know, in my armchair. And you've never been at my house, have you? No. So there is the sofa, one armchair, one other armchair, and in the back, to the west side of the house, a fireplace, and then you look ahead of you, and there is this door opening into the main hall. So as I sat there, I heard a bicycle ring. I thought, well, that should be the paper. Checked my watch. It said 7 o'clock. Well, about 7. Suddenly I hear heels coming out from the hall, and there comes Ethel. Of course, she didn't see me because she thinks I was still getting dressed. So I flip my paper. I say, "Ethel." She says, "Yes, sir." She was quite startled to see me. She says, "Yes, sir." I said, "If you're going to see that newspaper delivery boy, then I suggest that you request me for a day off and take him to the pictures or somewhere else." So she smiled. She said, "Well, sir, could I have a day off today?" I said, "Well, it's Monday. You did a lot of work yesterday. Go ahead, take a day off." So Ethel and Ernest, the man is called. So Ethel and Ernest went to the pictures, and Winifred told me afterwards that they had a wonderful time. Of course, Ethel wouldn't tell me, but she told Winifred as she was dressing her. So, yes, that's quite the news, eh? Well, I'm so glad that you were able to make a little time for me and catch up on all the wonderful gossip. But I mean, you see that man over there? His name is Stuart. Yes, we were at Oxford together. Queer little fellow. What about him? Oh, well, you see, he works at the papers. And he told me that there is rather a good chance that many stories might be manipulated by him. He knows practically everything. Well, I mean a lot. No, not the Times, no, the gossip papers, the good news. Yes, I would go talk to him too if I were you. Man knows everything. Oh, and there's Adeline. You remember Adeline? You know, talk goes that she took a part-time position here as a cocktail lady. No, we could try one of Adeline's cocktails. What say you? Well, sir. Yes, would you perhaps mind to fetch Mrs. Stewart over there, over this table? Thank you. Well, we'll have a chat with Stewart, and I'll go have a chat with Adeline. And when I return, or perhaps if the evening gets late and I'm alone with her, the next time I see you I will have many more troubles to tell you about Adeline. You know, the thing is with Adeline, you pour in a couple of glasses of champagne and the woman tells you everything. Splendid. Oh yes, hello Stuart. Meet my friend, please. As I told you, Stuart, a friend of mine at Oxford. Splendid man. Sit down, sit down.